What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today man, we are transferring my 10-gallon puffer tank over into a 20-gallon long terrarium. I've had the tank for a few years now, but I have not had it set up in a while, so I've been wanting to do something with it, and that's what we're going to do with it today. And by the way, the only thing that actually makes this a terrarium is the top part of the trim, because it's meant for a sliding screen cover, but it holds water just fine, so it's completely fine for an aquarium. I'm basically just going to transfer everything that's in the 10-gallon tank right now over into the 20-gallon long, but I am also going to add a half a bag of Eco Complete to go along with the other Eco Complete, and I'm also going to add 2 pieces of spider wood, and it should be a pretty cool scape. It is going to be a very simple looking tank, but it should look really nice. However, there's a problem. So the spot the 10-gallon is at right now is 30 inches long, and the 20-gallon long is 30 inches long as well. The tank is, not the trim. The trim adds an extra half an inch to an inch onto it, so it does not fit in that spot. So what I'm gonna have to do is break down that 10-gallon, move it out of that spot, and then take my 5-gallon beta tank and move it into the spot where the 10-gallon is at, and then use the spot where the 5-gallon was at for the 20-gallon long. So I got a lot of tank moving to do, but it shouldn't be too hard because none of these tanks are really big, and this tank should come out looking pretty darn nice. So without further ado, let's get started. So I first got started by just draining 5 gallons of water out of the tank, and by the way, you may notice the tank is pretty dirty. That's because I let it get like this because I knew I was going to be transferring everything out of this tank into a new tank pretty soon, so I kind of let the algae build up. So once I drained 5 gallons of water out of the tank, got the dragon stone out and most of the plants, then it was time to start netting the fish out. Then once I caught all the fish out of there, it was then time to drain the rest of the water out of the tank. Then once I had all the water drained out of it, I could then move it out of its spot and then start draining the 5-gallon beta tank, in which at the time there was no fish in. So once the beta tank was mostly drained, I could then move it in the spot where the 10-gallon was at, and then pour the water back in it and get it back up and running. So once I had the spot cleaned off where the beta tank was at, I then moved the 20-gallon into place, and then I first started by just taking the Eco Complete substrate out of the 10-gallon. Then once I had all the gravel into place and how I wanted it, I then started to escape the tank. So once I escaped the tank, it was then time to fill it up, and you'll notice here in this clip, I'm not just dumping the water into the tank, I'm letting it hit my hand first. That way it softly flows into the tank and doesn't mess up any part of the scape except for the spider wood, because, well, they were going to float at the surface anyway. Then once it was filled up, I got the filter in place, got it primed, and turned it on. Okay, so it has been about 2 days since I set this tank up. It is not even crystal clear yet. It still needs to do some clearing up before it just gets just right. But it's looking pretty good, but this, just to keep in mind, is just the hardscape of the tank. So in next video, I'm going to be actually planting the whole entire tank, and we're going to load this thing up with plants. I'm going to try to get some background plants, but I know a lot of foreground plants, a lot of cryptocorn. I may go back with some hair grass, and then I may do something like some Vallisneria in the back. Nothing that gets real bulky like Amazon swords or anything like that, but something that will give a nice green background. And that is ultimately what's going to bring the tank to life, is adding the plants in there. And you can obviously tell I changed up the spider wood from when you guys last saw it in the montage. I just wasn't really liking it here in the middle. It looked good from the angle that I was putting it in the tank, but it did not look good once I had it set up. And that's the thing, like, whenever you go to, escape a tank, you can have a vision of what you want it to look like, but until you actually put it into the tank and have it set up and all that, you can't really tell how it is going to look. So I made some minor adjustments there, but I think that looks better. And what I might actually do is get another piece of spider wood, rearrange these two pieces of dragonstone, and put one other small piece, like one of these sides is right here in the middle, and try to make it look like one big continuous piece of wood right there in the middle, and obviously just plant in around it. But I know for sure I will be getting a lot of plants tomorrow. I will also be getting a different filter for the tank. This is just a temporary filter for the time being. I don't know if I'm going to have it on the edge like that and have it blowing through the tank, or if I'm going to have it on the back of the tank. Obviously there's not that much room because my TV is right there, but I am definitely going to be getting a different filter on here. And this is something that I forgot I had it, and when I started to scape the tank, I figured I could incorporate it somehow and make it look good in the tank, so that's what I did. It's actually a fairly big, like, artificial tree stump cave, and I kind of piled it into the gravel back there. But check it out. This is what's going to happen to these spider wood pieces over the next few days, and some of it's already starting to develop right there. You see that white fuzz right there? I don't know if this piece has any on it. I don't see any on it right now, but it will definitely start to get some, because that's what happened to the piece of spider wood I put in my beta tank. And it does cloud up the water a little bit, but the good thing about the spider wood, it does not release any tannin, so that is good. And then you can see another little spot where some of it's starting to grow right there. You can really see it right there, actually. Check that out. So basically what's going to happen, this whole piece of wood and the other piece are going to be just, it'll look like a cocoon is growing on the piece of spider wood. So it's just the natural process of, you know, adding wood into the tank. So that's pretty much it, though. I am liking it so far. We definitely got to get some more fish, and that is what I was about to talk about. I will talk about it more in the next video, but basically I do want to add some cardinal tetras in here, a small school of them, just to kind of bring this tank to life, add a lot more color in here. I think that splash of some really bright red and blue in here will really make this tank pop and look really nice, because no disrespect to the Danios or the P-Puffers, but their color is very similar to the colors in this tank, so they don't really stand out quite as much. So a small school of cardinal tetras, and also may get a few more Danios and like 2 more P-Puffers, and then some type of algae eater, because when I took the algae eaters out of the 10-gallon tank that all these fish were in, that's when that tank really started to ramp up in algae. So I know I'm going to need some type of algae eater in here, and I might get something that's kind of unusual that I have in mind right now that not a lot of people have, and they're not quite as popular as, you know, stuff like Chinese algae eaters and Otis Cincluses and stuff like that are. So it'll be a cool tank. I think this is going to be one of my most favorite tanks when I'm done with it. And just know I'm going to load this thing up with plants in the next video. I'll also be getting another filter for it, and I may be getting another piece of spider wood to go right there in the middle. So come back for part 2. I'll be posting that video next Tuesday. It's really going to give a whole different look to this tank. But for now, we got the hardscape done, and I think it's looking pretty good so far. However, you guys can let me know what you think down below in the comments. I think the tank looks pretty good right now, but like I said, it should look a whole lot better, and it's really going to bring the tank to life as we do start to add the plants in here in the next video. And when I get those cardinal tetras, that's a fish I've really wanted to get some of for a while now, and I think this is the perfect tank to get a small little school of 5 or 6 of them in, because they really are going to stand out here, and they should do good in a tank like this. So thank you guys for watching as always, though, and with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.